All right, we're live, folks. Um, Hi, my name is Gustavo Adolfo Uribe, and I just recently saw this movement called hashtag walkaway, and I was really inspired by it because it resonated with me, and I was like, man, I've been feeling like this for a really, really long time, and I wanted to share my story and how I got to the point where I'm like, man, you know what? This it's not about Democrats or Republicans. It's really about, in my opinion, uh, you know, an infringement on um, independence. Like I hate to say the word globalist, but that's basically what it is. Like a globalist communism takeover, and the more you look into it, the more that it really seems to be what's happening. Um, and with all this crazy political stuff, with the recent, they just voted on the border bill, and I've been seeing talks about the new Democrat lady talking about the new Green Deal and this democratic socialism, and I'm like, man, this is communism, bro. This is communism. So, anyways, I want to thank the homie for starting this movement, and I want to put my 2 cents in. So, for those who don't know me, I have a YouTube channel, I'm a recording artist, and I have political songs. So, one of the songs that I have is called Brown Don Johnson, and it's a political satire on the wall and the war on drugs. And basically, how, like, kind of pointing out through like satire that there was some reports that there was some CIA operatives that were helping El Chapo smuggle drugs to the U.S. And I've heard some other stuff like the CIA, not the whole CIA, but maybe some part of it was funding the coke in the 80s in LA, and it just started to destabilize the black communities. And so, anyways, I made that song. It's called Brown Don Johnson. Check it out on my YouTube channel. So when all this stuff's going on, I was like, you know what? I identify with this movement, and I really want to speak on it. So, anyways, let me rewind. I want to tell my story. I'm going to rant, so just bear with me. I'm from California, Santa Barbara, California. Right now, I'm living in LA, and I was brought up, Democrat, um, and very political. And when I remember when I turned 18, I voted. You know what I'm saying? I don't remember who I voted. The actual elections at the time. It was a while ago. But anyways, it was Democrat, Democrat, Democrat. Um, and then to fast forward, Barack Obama came around, and I remember hearing him speak, and he said something like, "There's not a red America, a blue America. There's only the United States of America." And when I heard that during one of the conventions, I think it was like before he actually ran, I was like, you know what? He's gonna be the president. I knew in my head, I'm like, that's the guy, and he inspired me, and I believed in him. Then he came out with all this, like yes we can, hope and change and blah blah blah. Um, and the yes we can is actually si se puede, which is a Mexican saying, if I'm not mistaken. So it's like gathering a lot of these supporters, and because I have a Mexican American, I feel like a lot of minorities, Mexicans and Black people, I could relate to him because he was black. I mean, pretty much, and he was well spoken, articulate, charming, blah blah blah. But anyways, so um, I actually thought that I wanted free healthcare. I wanted free college tuition. I thought those were good ideas, and I actually joined the Peace and Freedom Party, and believe that was a socialist party actually at the time. I was there for a while, and then what happened was nothing. They didn't do that. Barack Obama was in office, and I remember that didn't happen. We didn't get the free tuition. We got Obamacare, and then I remember he signed the Monsanto bill, and I remember like he said he was gonna get out of Iraq, and we were in more in Iraq, and all these things. It's like, you know what? It was like, what? Like after the second term, I was like, you know what? It's not Republicans versus Democrats. They're on the same team. There's some corruptness, and I didn't like that, so I stopped voting. I was like, you know what? I'm independent now, and I stopped voting. I'm like, I'm out. I'm out. I've checked out. I'm gonna move to Mexico or something. I checked out. So, anyways, now to fast forward to the Trump election, it was gonna be, I started to look into it, because to give you background is that I was a Trump fan, not because he was political, but because I thought he was cool and he was a good businessman. And I remember when I was working at Macy's for the holidays once, like part time, uh, I bought his ties, and I thought they were cool and I thought they looked nice. So, anyways, to fast forward, going to the point, I read Barack Obama's books, right? So I agreed with what he did, what he was saying. He didn't do it, but I agreed with what he was saying. So then Trump announced the presidency, or that he was running for president, and it was weird because I was on the fence. I was like, well, I don't know. He sounds like right. In my heart, I was like, well, he's resonating, but I don't trust him. And the reason was because there was a whole lot. I was in the belly of the beast, bro. California is a crazy Democrat zone, and at the time, I was working at a local newspaper. I'm not gonna name names, but local weekly newspaper, and they're super liberal, super anti-Trump. They support Hillary. They always have like, recommendations, and they're Democrat. They're very blue, right? And it got me thinking. I was like, you know what? How is it possible that um, Trump, before he was running, was not a big deal? I mean, he made a big deal with the Obama certificate, but he wasn't the one that made that theory up. There was actually, when you look into it, he wasn't the one who created it. Um, so it wasn't because Barack Obama was black, and that's what the narrative was. It was no, it was because Barack Obama had some type of there was something that didn't add up, and there was a theory about where he was born, and uh, in looking at his presidency, it was kind of like certain things just didn't add up. And the thing that really stuck out with me, I remember when he first started, he got the Nobel Peace Prize, and it was just like, what the hell? Like, he just got elected. Like, how did he get a Nobel Peace Prize? It was like I don't think he like did you do anything yet, Cholo? Like, you just got hired. Like, what's going on here? I don't know. I didn't understand. So it was like kind of fishy. It was like, man, this guy's like, it was like, it's like the things that are saying and the things that's being done doesn't add up, right? So, anyways, so I noticed that Trump immediately got demonized, and there was slam piece after slam piece after slam piece in the media. And the thing that I didn't like was the thing that about the grabbing the pussy, right? And I thought to myself, I was like, wow, that's some pretty crazy shit. And then because the sound bites, like, what, wow. And then you look into it, and I at work, while I'm doing stuff, I watched the YouTube, and I was watching, and I started, I like to watch everything. So I was watching the CNN and the InfoWars and the Fox, whatever, and third party people, and independent people. And I saw that, you know what? I heard the whole clip, and it was basically him and some other guy like a while ago, and they're just talking in the locker room talk, right? About women, and it wasn't like it was like they were in jesting, like they were talking, like joking around. The guy was laughing, blah blah blah, and Trumpy's funny. He was making jokes and stuff, and he was making like self-deprecating humor. You know what I'm saying? In a way, like, because he was trying to hit on this woman and she rejected him, and he was laughing about it. And then he made the comment like, yeah, when you're a celebrity, the women they let you do anything, grab them by the pussy, right? And that's a joke. And I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? I've said a lot worse shit in my life, a lot of locker room talk, and I remember so many people were talking smack about it. I'm like, you know what? Like as a guy, like as a straight guy, you never said shit like that to your friends. Like you just hanging out, drinking. I was like, yeah, man, I would, and all this shit. You didn't say that. You straight up. You have like a halo around your head. You're perfect. You're a little church boy, whatever. You don't say shit like that. I thought that was very disingenuous. Very disingenuous. And that was a while ago in closed doors. So I was like, locker room talk. I was like, man, he's right, man. He's like, that's locker room talk, bro. I've said shit like that. And I've never raped a woman. I've never sexually assaulted a woman. So like, I could totally get where that's coming from. Um, so anyways, and then the other thing that I didn't like was the thing about the Mexicans were rapists and all this shit. That soundbite, and I was like, first I was like, man, this. But then I looked at it and I was like, wait a minute, like he's talking about the people crossing over, that there's a problem, and Mexicans aren't sending. They're not sending their best. You get there's people who want a better life, and there's people who are criminals. And I remember I was talking to my cousin. He's Mexican, and he was visiting. I told him about that. What do you think about that Trump comment? He's like, well, yeah. He was like, well, the people in Mexico don't want to leave unless they're like criminals or poor people. And he said that he was Mexican, and I was just like, what the hell? He's like, yeah, they have no reason to leave. Like if they're doing, if they're doing all right, they have no reason to leave Mexico. And I was like, damn, I told my mom I was talking to her and blah blah. And that's when things started to unravel for me. So I mean, I was already independent at this point. And then another point I'm gonna say that really put me over the edge was learning about Hillary Clinton, with the emails. Um, from what I understand is that uh, she she had confidential stuff in her private server in her house that was not supposed to be there, right? And if you think about it, it's like, well, yeah, if you're the I forgot what the title was, the Secretary of State or whatever, and you got confidential stuff that's not supposed that's on a server in your house. I mean, think about that. Like just an IT perspective, because I'm learning about web development and IT right now. Like you're putting stuff like in a you're putting yourself in a position where hackers can hack you. You know what I'm saying? You're taking confidential government stuff, and it's not in that environment. You're taking it away from that. So it's like A, hackers can get into it, and B, we don't know what you're doing with that information. That's like stealing confidential shit and keeping it at home from your work. Think about it, if you went to a job and you stole like confidential work stuff and you just put it at home, like that's I don't see like how that would be okay. Like if you're working at home and the company's cool, but like if it's confidential stuff, like like you don't like what did you that's what's going on here. And the thing is like when you ask, I would talk to my coworkers and my friend, and they was just like, oh, that's not a big deal. That's not a big deal. Like, I'm like, how is that not a fucking big deal? Isn't that technically breaking the law? Like, you're not supposed to do that. Isn't that treason? Like, you're not supposed to take confidential government secret shit and have it like just out there in your house like that. I don't know. I didn't get that. And then you research the Clintons and all this stuff unravels when you go on YouTube and you're like, oh man, there's some crazy ass shit going on with the Clintons, man. Oh man, you just do the research. So, anyways, I read. This is a long rant, so excuse me, guys, but I have a lot of stuff on my chest. Um, and then, so I read Trump's books, right? Because I read Obama's books. Um, and I read like I don't know, five of them or something. I read the Ivana Trump's book, and I was like, man, this is good stuff for me. There was nothing in there that was racist. There was nothing in there that was racist or feminist or whatever. Like he talked about he hired people that did a good job, and if they did a good job, he promote them, keep and they would rise in his organizations, and he hired black people and women, and like I didn't. There was nothing racist in there, and he's a good businessman. He would talk about his tactics and practical business advice, and I was like, how? Like he's not dumb. He's very straight to the point, kind of conversational, but he's not dumb. And everything he says he's gonna do or writes about, he does. So it was just like, what the hell? Like what? Why? Like what's going on here? Anyways, so there's this book that he wrote. I think it was I forgot the name of it, but it was about America, like Great Again, I believe. And I read that, and he was like trashing Obama's policies throughout the whole book. But I mean, he had an idea of what he thought should happen. He got elected president, and sure enough, like those ideas that he has are he's been implementing. So yeah, so I'm at the point to wrap this video up is that I'm at the point where I'm an independent, but as long as Trump keeps doing well, the economy's doing well, the unemployment is low, and the wall thing. At first I didn't think that was a good idea, but seeing all of these, the caravans of the South Americans and the Mexicans, whatever, the caravans of these illegal immigrants, they go to Mexico, and Mexico's like, okay, well, we'll help you out. And then they're like, no, fuck that shit. We want to go to America. Like, that is a national emergency. We can't have caravans of people just coming in and we just give them free shit. That's not fair for us citizens that work our ass offs, that pay taxes. That's not fair. So if he keeps doing good, he's got my vote. I'm gonna get my ass back into the voting. No, I'm gonna vote early. I'll mail that shit in early. Trump, you got my vote. As long as you keep doing well, you got my vote. Keep up the good work. And for all the people who hate on Trump, and I've gotten a lot of shit, even though I tell them like I didn't vote, I'm independent, blah blah blah. I don't believe that shit. I got a lot like people, these Democrats, especially California, man. They don't want to hear it, bro. They don't want to hear arguments and facts. And to make my last point is like, to put things in perspective. The people, if you look at the stuff in the rallies and what people are saying, and there's black people that are voting for Trump and gay people that are voting for Trump. So it's impossible that Trump is a racist and everybody who votes for him is a racist. Like that doesn't make sense. If you look at the rallies and stuff, they're not burning crosses and lynching black people. So I don't know where people are getting this shit where it's like, Trump is a racist and everybody votes for Trump is a racist. Like, no, if you listen to the arguments that they're saying, it's all about the economy. That's all it is. It's all about the economy, and they don't want the country to be run by communists. You look at Venezuela and all this communist USSR, China, it doesn't work. And even the countries that have socialist, healthcare programs and social education, it's not perfect. There's some problems with that. So if I challenge any Democrats that are watching, it's like, look, if you want to be a Democrat, but don't get caught up in all of these. Don't get blinded by oh, he's a racist, oh, he's a sexist or whatever, because that sexism, racism, that's in your head. That's in your head. Has it happened in the past? Yeah. But right now, in this climate, that's in your head. That's in your head, bro. You know, you don't have to prove anything. You don't have to prove anything. Women have rights to vote and blah blah blah. Black people have rights, and you know, that is in your head at this point. We have to come together as a people and look at what is good for our country and what is not good for our country, and debate it on facts and action plan. Nothing's gonna be perfect, but we have to be on, at least agree on the same page. Screen plan shit. If you if you don't have a solid idea of how this is gonna affect the economy, then you gotta look at that and look at the facts. All right. Thanks for watching my rant. I know it's long, but I had to do it. Okay. Thanks. Bye.